people don't have exciting culture.
White people have no culture.
White people don't have any culture.
White people have no culture.
Exactly what is white culture?
Shalom, Kol Hulo Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Bahashem, Rahahakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. My name is Barad Debal, coming to you from the GMS campus, Indianapolis. And to all those listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. Especially to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that make up the 12 tribes of Israel. The title of this piece is An Imminent Fall is soon to come. An imminent fall. And as you can see in the video, it talks about, white people having no culture. And I'm going to scroll through, but prior to doing so, there was a scripture that came to mind in the book of John. I've been bringing this out quite a bit. John chapter 10, verse 10. It says, "The thief cometh not, but to steal, kill, and destroy. I come," which is Yahushua, "that they, the elect, might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly." So the culture of Esau, Edom, so-called white men, is actually to steal, the thief, to steal, kill, and destroy. And so just a few things that came to mind is that when you've seen the video of all the things, the monuments, statues, and the people, the one thing that they've done was they've taken it like America has been stolen from the native tribe, the Northern Kingdom, and its history. Okay, all the lands in which they have colonized. When you look up colonization, they come into the land, and before you know it, they start to bring disease and other things that follow them. And when they take the land as you have it today, they have what you call civilization. Okay, and so let's get this here. There's a point I want to get. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, Sirach, chapter 12, and the part that I want, verse 10, it says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, take good heed and beware of him." So when he came amongst the native tribes here, we're just going to speak on America, but this is other places in which he's conquered. He came humble, but then at the same time, he was sending back word like Columbus, saying that, hey, with a few men, we can take over these people. We also speak of the smallpox blankets and the fire water that was given. Took the men, made the men very sick, took the men out, and then completely took the children. The Trail of Tears, just to name. And then when you have conquered this place and fully colonized this place, in the same breath, you took the Northern Kingdom or the Southern Kingdom under from the places of Africa. Of course, this is where we had flocked, ran into. But in the west parts of Africa, you take the Negroes, and when you look in the history, they have maps that tell that they called it Negro land, right? And so you took these people and you brought them over to the Americas, and you built your society. And so it says, though he come humble, right, go crouching, it says, yet take good heed, beware of him, that thou should be unto him as thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. So right now they basked in the glory of their forefathers and how they've built this land in this country. But as it tells us in Obadiah, shame shall cover thee for the violence against thy brother Jacob. Shame shall cover you. So all the things in which you've been proud about, you find that your forefathers were the ones who have stolen it from another land, the minerals, the wealth that you taken from another land. And because the power was given into your hand. Job 9:4 says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. And so it says, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, which is what he's done to many people, starting with the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Here in the Americas, he said, he stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. So this is what has happened here in the Americas, for example. This land was, of course, of the Northern Kingdom, and the tribes, Gad, Reuben, Simeon, just to name a few, occupied the Americas, and it was completely stolen. And the scriptures actually speak about that. Gad, a troop shall overtake him, right? But he shall overcome in the last, meaning that pretty soon, Gad will be back in his righteous order and righteous place under Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and this place will be taken down. But let's go now that they have this, and they've built wealth and everything. And actually, there's one more thought that just came to mind. I want to get found in thy hand, because you stole a people, you took them from a land and brought them over here. It says, Exodus chapter 21, verse 16, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, where not the so-called blacks put on auction blocks, and the natives tribes as well, and sold, as it tells us in Joel, you have sold a girl wine and a man for a harlot. You sold the girl so you can have pleasure with them, and or you bought the girls, so you may have your pleasure. You made the men in the history. When you look up see the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom, you made the men breeders so that you can multiply slaves. It says, and he that stealeth a man, see, the thief cometh not but to steal, and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, and we're still in thy hands, it says, he shall surely be put to death. And this is what's coming upon. This is part of the imminent fall. All right. So let's look at some of these statements. So it says, white culture, the advancement of civilization. So when you look up many of the things that were founded, like from, like alcohol distilleries, the light bulb, pretty much peanuts, everything, you find that it's been by the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian that was actually the innovators of these things. And then you find that when there were times in which we were separated, if you look in the red summer of 1919, you notice that a lot of those civilizations, and there's others, none of those, let's say civilizations, but a lot of those communities were so-called black communities, which pretty much were self-sufficient without the so-called white man. And because of false accusations and and greed, and like the scriptures talk about, coveting fields and take them by violence. Esau, so-called white man, had went in and stolen and pillaged a lot of these areas thereafter. Okay, leaving the so-called black man, Hispanic and Native Indian man ruined. Okay, and again, these are all part of the curses because this place was not meant to be a place of rest. It was not meant to be a place, for everlasting. This was our jail sentence. This is our captivity. So it says, maybe because if we even say something is white culture, all of a sudden it's racist. But who started this whole thing of white and black in like the early 1600s? The so-called white man. It says white culture is civilization. We weren't allowed to have white culture because it is called racist. Okay. It says white culture, success, development, advancement, wealth, growth of civilization. I am a brown guy and I still recognize it. So even our people, will have a mindset to tie with this place being great. It says, we all fled our countries and chased the white culture, and the people that were forced to be here still choose not to leave. You can't leave. You actually have, when you have certain licenses you have to have just to leave the country, and then many people can't even afford the time to move, and just like or the funds to move. And just like I said before, this is our captivity. This was set to be a place for us to serve our bondage until Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai comes and frees us. All right. So it's not that many people are really here by choice. They're actually forced here. It says we literally built this world. You see that? We literally built this world. Okay, he says, I am almost 100% certain white culture is the absolute greatest culture in the history of the world. And it's okay to be proud of that. All right, so we're going to end there. Let's go. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 8. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. This is the pride of the devil, to take a land from a people, to know the history that you've taken the land and how you've actually gotten it, and then to turn around and say what you've done is great. And of course, there was a thought that came to mind. The Elder Malcolm usually mentions it. Maybe it'll come back, but it has a part two, right? When you thought that the Lord was with you, he allowed you to build up your tab because he's going to bring you down. But let's get this. This is the book of... Oh, I read that one already. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. It says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. So you think that you're great, but really you're a base man, according to the scriptures. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, your mind, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the sentiment that you guys have. And here's another one. Psalms 48, verse 11. It's 49 and 11. 49 and 11. And because of that, you have this thought. Psalms 49 verse 11, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. So with all the robbery, murder, and the death, and all the wickedness that's happening, even in the land this current present time, you still believe that this place is going to continue with all the division? The Lord has said that this place, a house divided cannot stand, and this place is completely divided. But this is white culture. It says, their dwelling places to all generations, they call their lands after their own name. And after they've taken all the lands, you now have Mount Rushmore and different things like that, monuments. named after your people, even to the point that at one point in time they were ashamed. You were ashamed to where you were taking down a lot of those statutes. But again, that spirit, that old spirit is revving back up within you to show who you really are, as you read further in Sirach chapter 10. But I think it might, if it's not chapter 10, it's chapter 12. I sometimes get those mixed up, but Salaki on that. But it says, who shall bring me down to the ground? It says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So though you built yourself up within this kingdom, the Lord also said, they shall build, but I will throw down. Right? Job 20 verse 7, it says, yet. Verse 4, it says, knowest thou not this of old, since men were placed upon earth, that the triumphant of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? See, your triumphant and your glory in all of this is a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, so this great civilization that you have, right? Your rulers. It says, and his head reach into the clouds, so you're proud, you're so high and mighty that no one can touch thee. Yet shall he perish forever like his own dung. They which see him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision in the night. So pretty soon you're going to be to the point where you are no more. Okay? This is the book of Sirach. Actually, let me going to end with that. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 10 through 14. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Because now we're starting to see this kingdom fall with all the infighting, the violence, the economic issues, these other kingdoms coming up against America. They don't see this place as promising as before. And as the one guy in one of those statements said, the people who were brought here are still here, right? But there have been many people who of other nations, as the scripture has spoken of, have came here to build a society, and they start to see it crumble, and they're fleeing right back to their homes. It says, art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp, pride, is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, your music, is also. The worms is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So it's pretty much is corroding as we speak. All right. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, which is a man. You're going to read next. It says, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? Because of your civilization and your philosophies and doctrines, you've gone out into all these other nations and spread it. It has made these other people weak. Just like going into these other places and, putting the woman above the man, putting McDonald's, fast foods in all these different places, promoting same agenda marriages in all these different places. For thou hast said in thine heart, there it is again, thy mind, la'ab, which is dealing with the mind, I will ascend unto the heavens, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. It says, I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation of the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So now in all your technology and the things in which the Lord has allowed you to have, you put your place, set yourself as if you're the Most High. And because you have control over the Lord's people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and those that are sprinkled amongst the other nations all over the earth, you feel that you have this mighty power, but the Lord has allowed you to have it just for a short time. It says, this is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9 through 12, it says, and the point I really want to get is the second part in 10. It says, two are better than one because they have good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe, destruction to him that is alone when he falleth. And this is Esau. Because all the people that were connected with you are starting to separate themselves. When you know that something's about to strike, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is about to strike Esau, Edom, and many of the nations know that there's something looming about this place. People are starting to part ways, right? Starting with the elect, like it tells us to spiritually get out of this place, right? It says, for he have not another to help him up. So he's not going to have anyone when this destruction comes, and it comes as a mighty stream from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. No one's going to be able to help him. And I always think of the void of not being out there alone as a nation, of people, and everybody has their eye on you, and you're being brought low and destroyed. It says, and this is a wonderful thing, because when that happens, as that's happening, the elect of Israel is going to be risen up. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? He's going to be out there on his own, right? And if anyone prevail against, and if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a three cord is not easily broken. So pretty much this, really goes into, when we're out here, we're in this truth, when two or three are gathered together. But I wanted to point out that part in 10, because Esau, when he falls, it's going to be a great fall, and he's going to have to deal with it by himself. This is the book of Psalms 73, verse 18 through 20. And this is the Psalm of Asaph. And of course, what he says, surely, when the Lord gave us this knowledge, initially we were like, man, this is a mighty kingdom. This is a glorious place to live here and to see, them dwelling in riches and many people honoring them and things like that. Their children prospering and things like that. Was a thing, but then the Lord gave us the real truth of the matter. He had to build up his tab. He had his time. Okay, just like many great kingdoms had their time, this place has a time. Job says that he has set the bounds. He, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, has set the bounds in which he cannot pass. So he is reaching that time of his end, his imminent fall. It says, surely thou didst set him in slippery places. Thou cast him down into destruction. So he's slipping, and he's going to take as many people as he can with him. So this is why people are separating and moving themselves from him. All right. He's going to have to serve his captivity, and he's going to have to receive the things that were written in the scriptures, and he will. Thus said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It says, how are they brought to desolation? As in a moment, right? It says they are utterly consumed with terrors. See, that says enough. Utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their images. And that's what's happening. The men of the Lord are breaking down all the strongholds, all the things in which they pushed to be great. As far as their culture, we're finding through the men of the Lord, starting with the prophets, the true prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that the things in which Esau Edom has pushed are not good at all. As the scripture said, there's a way that seemeth right unto the man, but the way thereof are the ends of death. And that's Esau Edom in his way, because he's adverse, to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 7. He says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy in his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. So, of course, we know you have to know when you come in as to understanding that you are an Israelite, that you do have an enemy. You have enemies. The top wicked elite, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, is the forefront of that, of those enemies when you look at Psalms 83. But to be happy to see the fall of your enemy for all the things that they've done unto you, it's a blessing that comes from on high, from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So I hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, exhorting to the elect body of true believers. Before I end, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua Bahashem Rahahakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. The next time, all those listening and learning to you, I say Shalom.